Hey everybody, welcome to Much Mondays. Today's topic is Frozen 2. So Frozen 2 is kind of the inspiration for this whole series, being that it's a movie that I have a lot of thoughts about and want to say at least one very specific thing about it, but didn't feel like it was really worth going into a whole long video essay format. So I'm just going to run these thoughts by you for a minute. The thing that I left Frozen 2 thinking was that its ending specifically, by the way, I'm spoiling the whole thing if you haven't seen it yet. The ending specifically is something that I haven't really seen done very often, and especially have not seen done in the context of like a big blockbuster, big Disney blockbusters in particular. So the movie ends with Anna making the decision to tear down the dam that is keeping the native people in the Enchanted Forest, basically subjugated by Arendelle. She does that for a couple of reasons, but she does that knowing that it will flood Arendelle and destroy the whole town. So the backstory to that is the fact that this dam was built by their grandfather as a way to basically keep the natives in line and keep them from, attempting to rise up against Arendelle. He felt threatened by them, basically. And it's a pretty explicit act of imperialism, and the movie ends up saying we need to tear the whole thing down. So what's interesting about that is the fact that a lot of movies, and a lot of times even just like in our daily lives, we'll hear about things that happened in the past that were bad but didn't have anything to do with us, and we tend to think that that gives us like a pass from doing anything about it now. Frozen 2 could have very easily said, look, our grandfather did this really bad thing, but that's not us, and we're going to just make things better for you guys from now on. But the movie says, no, the only way to make that right is to undo the things that have been done before, even if that costs you and your people something huge. In this case, tearing down the dam could flood Arendelle and hurt people, destroy the town, whatever. That's the cost of making it right to the people that did not deserve to be subjugated in this way. That kind of idea is really interesting to me, especially in the same year that we got The Rise of Skywalker, which makes the case that imperialism is just look at all these spaceships, That's the idea of power that a movie like Star Wars wants you to think, whereas Frozen makes the case that no, power is building a dam, telling these people that this is going to be a good thing for them, when in reality it's you tricking them so that you can take control of their lands, so you can do, we never really get a sense of what that king really wanted, except that he was afraid of them, rising up against Arendelle, so he builds this dam as an attempt to keep them in their place. When do we see that? It's basically the thing that I left that theater thinking like, wow, Disney really went for it with this one. I thought it was a pretty interesting, unique choice for them to have made. That's the big thing that I want to say about Frozen 2. The other thing that I thought was interesting that doesn't really have anything to do with that, well, I guess it does in a sense, is how it compares to the first movie, and the fact that the first movie is all about dealing with the trauma of your past. It's a much more personal film in that way, where Elsa has all these issues that she has to work out. Anna has her own sort of naivete, I guess, that she needs to work through, things that have built up through their childhood that now they're coming into adulthood. It's like a coming of age film. You got to deal with that stuff. Frozen 2 opens with sort of the argument that now that you've done that, you can put those things behind you. There's a line in the first song about let's let our past be the past, and that song is also about how some things can never change and how you should strive for some level of balance and normalcy in your life. And then the rest of the film goes on to say, well, things that happened in the past should not just be buried and put away, they should be dealt with. And especially in the context of the first film, especially in the context of Disney's own history, a history filled with things that maybe they should be making more of an effort to actually confront rather than just trying to brush under the rug. The fact that Frozen 2 comes out of the gate and makes this argument that you really need to deal with those things, I thought was pretty interesting. So that's going to be it, I think, for this one here. Don't want to run too long. But that's Frozen 2. That's my thoughts on Frozen 2. If you have some thoughts as well, I would love to hear them. So make sure you drop a comment. If you like this format, please press like. Let me know any other thoughts or whatever that you might have. Again, there will be more longer form essays coming to the channel in the future. It's just this one didn't feel like it really needed one. Make sure you tune in next week for another episode of Much Mondays, where we'll be talking about something else. But that's it for this one. Thanks for watching.